Welcome everyone to the Master Vox, where we have our co-caster Nilla here with us. I'm going to introduce him in a second. But today we have our Kingdom of Steel tournament, one of the first ones we're doing between Ciro and Vase the Warlord. I'd like to put a special thanks out there to the tournament sponsor, racedesigns.ca. You'll see their thing here where they'll help you build a website in case you're completely retarded at, building a company's website yourself. Look at these guys. They like Steel Division, meaning they like you. All right, now I'm gonna introduce Nilla. Say hey.
I'm gonna be a little marketing slut here and say definitely go with those guys. You can build a website with Wix and stuff like that, but if you have somebody who you can go to that can consult on it and help build it for you, it's a lot better than you sitting there being like, "Ooh, this drop-down menu looks good." So if you're gonna go become a drop shipper, go with those boys.
Okay, well, thanks for plugging that sponsor and giving them a little heads up. So today we have 4th Alpini against the Gebirgsjäger. What do you think about this?
So this probably could be a historical matchup, considering the Italians switched sides so many times and they came in the same DLC. Honestly, this could be the Italian division that was on the Ally side, even though I know it's on the Axis side. But it's whatever. It's the Italians; they do their thing. But the tank tab is outstanding. It came straight out of North Africa. It pretty much fought at El Alamein, and all those tanks except the P-40 were probably there. And I remember spamming all these shitty Italian tanks as a kid when I played Ruse. So cool division, there's a little nostalgia to it.
So talking about spamming shitty Italian tanks, look at the glorious charge of the L3s.
I love it.
It's so beautiful. And then you have autocannon cars everywhere. Oh.
What's funny is that even an Italian man back then was taller than that tank.
Ooh, that's a lot of pasta to stack up into that thing.
Oh, yeah.
But the funny thing here is these L3s are going to just run over these Gebirgsjäger because he doesn't have any anti-tank.
Yeah, what had happened is that was a really, really good AT placement there by Ciro, dropping it on that road. It took out the Stug there, so now these L3s and the M15 are just going to run riot all over the Gebirgsjäger and machine guns there.
Oh my god, this M15 is just such a cute little tankety right there. But with the fact that it's got 2 8mm machine guns and that 47mm, it's going to do the Lord's work. But if we look up north, ooh, this is a beautiful thing going on here.
Yeah, so what's really cool about what we're seeing here is both players picked exactly where they wanted to push hard. Where they pushed hard, they pretty much succeeded. And down south, Vase Warlord doesn't really have everything he wants. The flag is still in control of Ciro, but he has all the good positioning there in the town. While up north, Cairo's just stomped him in the forest, and that's a harder position to get back into. So Vase is going to have to get moving and get a good toehold back in there and start focusing up north for a risk of losing another flag on that crossroads.
So I'm going to point something out in one of my favorite units in the 4th Alpini. Look at the Pioneer up north, their weapons loadout. They have both a flamethrower and a satchel charge. So you want to talk about the close quarters, beautiful unit, that right there. Oh.
Yeah, that's a cool unit, especially with those Berettas being 150 meter range. Those things are super sweet.
Oh yeah, it does have 4 Berettas on top of a flamethrower, on top of a satchel. So this is just it's like a 30-point squad, but is it worth it?
Yeah, and then one little side piece, I know in Nav and in this division, I actually helped design one of the units.
Really? Which one did you help design?
I own a Carcano, and we're talking about that. It was when I was back on the strike team. We're talking about Carcanos. And I said, hey, if you guys want a reference, just let me know. I have a cavalry Carcano, the one with the folding bayonet. So they asked just to see what picture of the Carcano. So I sent Mad a picture of my Carcano, and they used that as a reference for the Carcano models in the game.
Well, damn. Someone actually pays attention to your input.
Yeah, it was one of the times.
It hasn't happened since. And now we're really showing how I drag you out of the hospice care from Steel Division.
Oh, yeah, that was probably 2 years ago.
Yeah. Now,
I'm surprised I didn't get that from the dementia.
you have moments of lucidity, where you're able to understand, and that's really only when I put Steel Division in front of you. Before then, you're like, who am I?
Yeah, it's one of the good days.
Yeah. I really like this counterattack we're seeing up north from Vase the Warlord. Because those Gebirgsjäger and the Gebirgsstreif, oh, they're such good infantry units for that close quarters. Not only do they have 4 MP40s, they have 5 G43s. I don't give a shit about the MG42. When you're talking about that knife fighty, all of that damage will just keep adding up.
What's really cool about those Gebirgsjägers, one, they win the knife fight, because they probably will, with all the firepower you just mentioned. They can hold that ground because they have the MG42. So even though it won't help you in the knife fight, you know, one man in the squad not being able to contribute isn't too bad, considering you're probably going to win to begin with. But one thing I wanted to point out with these two counterattacks going on, because you have the success up north from Warlord, and then down south, Ciro seeing some success too. Both players decided to reinforce their points of failure rather than reinforcing their points of success, and they're gonna, looks like, end up going back to a neutral footing in both those positions. And this is one thing that our buddy Graham likes talking about whenever he talks about Steel Division and DJ games. He likes talking about kind of the flow and the pace of the game, and timing is the word he uses, and that's all down to timing right there. They said, all right, I think I can hold what I've taken with what I have, and then the timing hit from the reinforcement with the tick and the points, and it's flipped back over to about where they would have started at the start of the game at a neutral standing.
Ooh, I don't know where the game lies to you whenever it shows you where the bombs go. This is going to be a real interesting bombing run. But one thing I'll point out, so in your opinion, is it better to reinforce the successes or to shore up your failures?
It's really contingent, right? So if I'm looking at Warlord's position here, pushing out of that town into the trees isn't super easy. It's probably going to be a little easier to hold that town. Now, they should know, all right, there's going to be some armored cars coming in, so maybe some anti-tank there to help hold that town would have been a better situation. Not just Gebirgsjäger's anti-tank grenades, but like a Panzerschreck, something with like a cannon. But
you mean like that Stug M42 right there? That's
exactly
actually killing these auto cars? Yep. It's just swatting them down.
Yeah, and thinking about, you know, a couple steps ahead, if I go into those trees, I'm going to have to reinforce with infantry, get some artillery, maybe get some A to stop a plane from attacking me. I'm just going to throw it all in up north because I don't have to worry about that. I can take my position back there pretty quickly, and that position up north that Warlord lost is more vital than that town down south, because that town down south, you know, it takes a flag, right? But you have another thick green forest there that essentially forms a defensive line that you can go and dig into if you aren't ready to counterattack, and just make it harder for Ciro to push deeper into your position.
Yeah, and then one thing I'm going to talk about up north is we're seeing a lot of that combined arms warfare we were mentioned last cast, where you have that mountain IG-18 that just died, but you have all the Stugs, the auto cars, and the Gebirgsjäger pushing into his spawn flag area. Now, I know it's not the spawn flag area, but like for this entire forest here, if you can get something to cut off that reinforcement road, you hold it. There's no real getting that back.
Yeah, because it's just that one choke point road there.
So when you ask, do you reinforce success or failure, I think that's a very interesting question, because like doctrinally, the Soviets would reinforce their successes and say to be damned with the failures, just to keep pushing the initiative. So that's one thing to think about. When you reinforce your failures, you're ceding the initiative. When you reinforce your success, you're keeping the initiative in your hands.
Yeah, and it's also, too, thinking about it at the scale of Steel Division, right? And, you know, if you're the Soviets, and this is me just, spitballing it, but you're probably thinking of it from the position of, hey, there's a lot of Nazis on my territory. I kind of want to take it back. I'm going to do what I can to take that shit back. But in Steel Division, you don't have to worry about all of the poor, peasant farmers and Soviets that are getting messed with by the Nazis. So you can look at it and think to yourself, okay, what's the terrain? What am I doing in this situation? Who am I playing against? And take that all into consideration. And ultimately, for me, what it came down to a lot was, all right, I know myself better than I know anybody else. What do I feel most comfortable doing? If I did what I felt most comfortable doing, then it usually would work out better for me in the end than me trying to, do some gymnastics, make something stupid and crazy happen. So if you take it slow and you just do what you're comfortable with to begin with, then you'll be in a good spot. Where that becomes an issue down the line is if you're in a tournament, you're like, okay, Nilla has a tendency to do X, Y, and Z. Gonzo has a tendency to do X, Y, and Z, then people start reading you. But just in the
Yeah.
moment, be like, all right, I know I like this. I'm going to do it this way because that's the best option on the table for me right now.
That and like you can push yourself out of the comfort zone, but do that in training. When you're in a tournament, do what you understand and what is comfortable for you. Like I'm not gonna lie, I have 2 Kingdom of Steel games that I lost it, right? But I was doing the things that I felt comfortable with. Like one of them is an absolute nail biter. Like whew. But the other one, like I understood my failures because at heart I like playing a lot of CQC stuff. Like I like the knife fight. I like to live on the fucking edge. The map I had was a long range map, so it was completely out of my normal like wheelhouse. So you just need to practice more, and that's one thing I need to do is practice more to shake the rust off. And I think any Steel Division player can just use that one simple phrase of just practice more.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Yep.
It's all about that repetition. And, use it or lose it. I guarantee you if I go hopped into a season or the next season on Div 1, I'm getting just curb stomped.
Maybe that's what you want. You are a bit of a masochist, you know.
Yeah, that's why I keep hopping back on here.
Oh, the pain makes
and
you feel alive.
guarantee to all the folks that's not foreshadowing. It's not happening.
Oh.
Sorry to burst your bubble. I'm retired. I'm in the casting booth now.
Yeah, I have to pull this man out of the Steel Division hospice house. Like he ain't coming back anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, they have me on life support.
I mean, I kind of unplug you to charge my phone, but that's just the value I put in you. Now, one thing I'm going to point out up here is this Gebiegs Führer. We never really see this division, and it has both a sniper and a Panzerschreck. Like, I love the versatility of this Führer unit. I just hate how it makes me want to throw it into the fight.
Yeah, and it is the tip of the spear right now, and it is actually pretty much the push. It's him and one other dude. The issue up north there, and I'm very curious to see how Warlord's going to do here, committing to this push, because it's not easy getting across that field, and then you're so susceptible to flanking fire from where that Alpini recruit is down in the middle of the map, because if an IG or an anti-tank gun gets set up there, you can't reinforce your force too effectively anymore, and you can't get tanks up there and stuff like that because you're going to be getting cut off.
Yeah, and we're having a World War I mortar fight going on over here too. But I think the Italian one has the advantage just because it has... Oh, well, there's my caster's curse. It finally... It happened. It happened again. I swear it's you, it's not me.
One thing that's been a pretty big challenge here for Warlord is the AA. The amount of planes that Cairo's been able to call out and get good effect out of has been super effective. It just stopped the push up north, took out an A piece and a mortar in the middle there. And I don't know if a plane's really died. I haven't seen one die.
I haven't seen one die either, because the only thing he's got out is 20 millimeters. Now, if you look at the decks, he's got the 250 kilogram ones, I think, the 100 pointers, the Spavaros, and he's got 3 of those in A, and he's got 2 of the 1,000 kilo ones in B, so he's going to rely heavy on his Air Force. Ooh, because his armor ain't doing it.
The RE 2002 in B as well. That's a good fighter bomber there. So there's going to be a lot of planes just circling, dropping the heat. And over time, that's going to add up to if Warlord can't take and hold ground.
Yeah, and one thing we're noticing is he's having a pretty big issue even with this, like, shitty Italian light armor. Like, we're talking, these are like Matchbox cars getting thrown at you with some big guns. And big guns are very, very Italian term here, because they're 47 mils.
That's part of the issue that the Gebirgsjäger have, is they don't have any good anti-light options. They have some okay medium killers, so they have their Pack 40s, they have a cart of Stugs, and then they have a few little support Italian Stugs on their end. But with the amount of armor that's in Cairo's deck with the Alpini and how cheap it is, yeah, I'll trade 3 light tanks for your Stug. Cool. I'll do that all day, because once that's done, I'll still have tanks around kicking to keep fighting, and your Stugs will all be gone.
Exactly. This man has... Cairo has 34 tanks in this deck. And they're
that's just
all...
in the tank tab.
And let's say 28 of them are under 30 points.
Yep.
Yeah, it's glorious. And if you look up north, you can see that he completely killed off that attack, and he might counterattack, because he's got his Pack 40. Oh my god, he's got the Pack 40 in that weird position that's just shooting at the reinforcement road. but it's
That does
not.
some good line of sight usage there. It's better for killing a tank if a tank rolls up.
Yeah. Oh god, the Pioneer are about to show us why they're better. Because oh nope, they're taking the satchel, but they're giving one too.
Oh, it's the Geberg's Pioneer. They're throwing the jerry can bombs.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yep, that's super cool.
Are those like the super low damage satchels, but they deal 4 damage, right, instead of 10?
Yep. Yeah, and it's a fire.
Oh, so it's able to get thrown even if it's getting Flammenwerfered.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep.
That's what it looked like there in that fight.
So one thing I really like how Vase the Warlord's using his Recon Breda 20 mil as an anti-aircraft gun. Or no, those are anti-aircraft too. He has his AS-40s or 42s. Those are the Recon ones that are also anti-aircraft guns.
Yeah, that's a cool unit. That right there, bringing that out in B phase is a really good use of the unit itself before it even happens.
Did this man just bomb the AA position? What did I just watch? Like that is ballsy.
Second time that's happened too.
I mean, it's on fire, but I don't think the 20 mils are going to be able to kill it because it's going to get out of range. And who brought in off map? Oh, that's Vase.
Yep. Yeah, and it's not going to hit much there. Which that's a good spot to drop it there. You would think there's stuff there holding the front. It's really just one dude.
Yeah. Oh, and then we have the the radio mortars that I was talking about earlier. How they're hitting that Pack 40 with pinpoint precision. Like it is just getting rained on over there.
Yeah, that's one of the big mismatches here is going to be the artillery. Yeah, off map's cool, but radio mortars, they can go the distance if you need them to.
Yeah, and one thing I really don't like about 4th Alpini is their transports for that 100 mil. It goes like 16 kilometers an hour. Like, it's moving like old people fuck. You know, just like what you're used to in that, like, geriatric home. That's what's moving that cannon.
Hey, I'm just happy to get some. The fact that I can still get it up in the geriatric home, that's pretty impressive. Come on.
Ooh, that's the power of modern medicine right there.
Exactly. Viagra's one hell of a drug.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. The Pioneer are just showing their worth right now. They just killed off 2 Gebirgsjäger units.
With some air support. Let's give the Italian Air Force some love.
Ooh, that's what happens when you bomb them with the pasta. Now, this M41 south of the village, like, it's weird how that, like, the Stug and that are just having, like, a really weird standoff there. Like, they can both, like, kind of see the tracks of each other. If this was War Thunder, they'd just be planking off on tracks, but... that Pack 40 you were talking about, looking down that reinforcement road, 2 Gebirgsjäger, 3 Gebirgsjäger, I'm going to count it, yep, 3 Gebirgsjäger kills in their transports, and he's aiming on the 4th right now.
Brutal.
Yeah, like that reinforcement road AT gun, that is just crazy.
You showed that to the Iraqi Republican Guard back in the 90s. Would get flashbacks of the Highway of Death. That is just straight up a Highway of Death there.
Oh my, look how many dead things are just there from that one cannon. Alright, and remember, just like the Iraqis, you would understand that napalm sticks to kids. It sticks to Iraqi vehicles, and it sticks to kids.
Well, we didn't use napalm. We used white phosphorus for smoke cover, so it's legal.
No, I think we actually used napalm in the Highway of Death.
I didn't even know that. That's pretty
cool. I think we used all of our old Vietnam stockpiles before it technically expired.
Hey, we're saving the taxpayer dollars.
Originally, it was used for deforestation, then it was used for de-tankifying.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, hey, saved us money.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it looks like we're having a counterattack into the central town, or the little bulgy town, right now. He's only got Alpinis, and I don't really know how good Alpinis are in, like, close quarters. I wouldn't say very good, because they're so anemic.
So far through the game, Vase has done a really good job of keeping the pressure up and engaging, but I don't think they've traded too well. I feel like Ciro's done some really good trades. That might be skewed by how effective the Air Force is right now, but at some point, Ciro's going to have to make a push.
Yeah.
Because Vase is slowly rolling forward with the rolling artillery with the off map, which is super cool to watch that. That's a really good execution there to take that flag.
Yeah.
But there's nothing behind it. So if Cairo counterattacks into the off map, that center there is going to collapse.
I think what we're noticing here is we're noticing the overtime cost effectiveness of the Italian Air Force out of Cairo, where he's constantly able to keep getting use out of it versus the one-off use of the off-map. Both have their purpose and both have their place, but wait, who the hell's off-map is going on now?
I don't know.
I was too busy talking about the Iraqi napalming of their highways between that and Kuwait. I didn't even notice if Cairo has off. Does he have off map?
No, that's Vase's off map. I think it just was the edge of the circle there, hit the troops and stunned them.
Oh shit! Oh no! And now we're gonna get some pioneery to go in and mop up what the off map started. Yep. Jesus.
So what Cairo's kind of done here is just used the infantry and the crappy little Alpini as sensors as like a tripwire to say, hey, there's an infantry pushing me, just drop it like it's hot.
Yep.
And the artillery is like, cool, I got you, and it's taken that town in the south there back for him. Now there's a clown car column coming in of Gebirgsjäger that are going to counterattack into it, but those mortars are very thirsty, and there is a big old fountain they're drinking from right now, so their artillery is going to keep flowing.
Yep. The spice must flow.
Yes.
And what we're seeing with the Alpini is whenever he had that M15 over here, there was a column of clown cars that got by with no one noticing. But with that Alpini there, with the infantry optics, which means just looking and not shit, he was able to start interdicting the Gebirgsjäger. And what's weird is he's not attacking the town, he's pushing into the other portion of that forest.
I think what Vase might be going for here is just the tick, trying to get as many tickets as possible and then go on the defensive and try to grind out Cairo, because like we were saying earlier, Cairo hasn't pushed, but if you can just continue to hold that tick for as long as you can, you might be in a better spot as it goes on. But there's just so much artillery out from Cairo and so many planes. I think the fire support here for Cairo is going to lend him the victory, but there's still a lot to be done. Cairo still hasn't made a push and gotten any real lead.
Yeah, I think Cairo's just been using his shit infantry and shit vehicles to trade as best as he can, and I think Vase right now is just trying to realize, like, oh, this is a Mav on Mav, I need to get something and I need to hold it, even if it's just one flag.
Yeah, because you can go into these Mav on Mav matches, and any mirror match for that matter, and play the deck, like a balanced deck, or you can play it as like two Mavericks going head-to-head in B-phase on it. Or you can play it as a Vanguard. That's the crazy thing with Maverick. People like that kind of security blanket of, all right, I have a lot of points in B phase, I can really push it, but I don't want to have not enough points in B phase as balanced to really hold off. And then they look at you funny if you play B for victory. So it's cool seeing Cairo kind of play this Maverick as a balanced Alpini, is what it kind of feels like.
So this was probably something where he was like, well, shit, if I'm playing Maverick on Maverick, I need to slowly push, slowly trade, just to try to be able to get that eventual advantage.
Yeah, well, it's worked, because that center is looking pretty weak there, and there is a bunch of angry Fiat tanks ready to roll through.
Oh yeah, all these M14s and shit? Ooh. And then the auto blendas? Yep, there's a lot. The one thing I will say to Vase is, like, watch your off-map, because even with the Gebirgsjäger being right on the edge, there could be shells that land on the edge and that will pin your units more.
Yep.
Everything in that green circle is fair game.
Yeah, the suppression doesn't stop at the edge of that circle. It extends out from where, because the artillery will fall on the edge of that circle, and then whatever radius that artillery has will extend out from there, from that point that it drops in the circle.
The off-map did work pretty well for, like, stopping that one M14 and the Pioneers are all falling out. Now, what's your opinion on these GNRs? Like, I actually kind of like them because the automatic rifle is good for CQC, and you got 4 machine guns, or 4 SMGs. So they can do the Lord's work real close.
Yeah, and they're also have a name that I have no idea what it means. So it could be some Italian death squad, or it could be some, police unit. So I bet there's some really crazy history behind them. And they, Like they're wearing pajamas too. They got like blue shirts on. I don't know what these dudes are doing, but they got a cool loadout.
You know what? I have a feeling that these are the Italian Fedayeen. That's what I think they are, just without the Darth Vader helmets.
A lot of Iraqi references.
Hey, I don't know. You got me started, okay? You can't get me started and not have me keep going, all right?
Hey, zoom in on the GNR guys. They got purses.
I mean, they are Italian.
Yeah, they're fashionable.
Ooh, they got that Gucci purse for World War II combat. Mm-hmm. Oh, the one I'm looking at just dropped.
Oh, here comes another bombing run. It's only that Stug that's holding the middle still. That Stug dies, it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, the fact that the Gabix Fusilia are the only infantry on this front line. But the crazy thing is, like, I don't see anything that can just... Oh, wait, there's that Pack 40. Oh, just staring down that road in a more aggressive position.
Yeah, but there's also a Ju-87 G1 that's up. It's smoking because that C-205 gave it a good looking, but looks like the RE-2002 is going to chase it off, and there's a... Oh, there is no A up north anymore. I thought there was A up there. I guess it died, or there was never.
It's out of ammo. It's out of ammo. The Gabixiega 20 mil is out of ammo.
Oh. Wow.
And we're looking up here, like, the one beautiful thing about a Mav on Mav with the 4th Alpini is they don't give a single shit that they only have 80 points, because all of their shit is so cheap. So right now, we see this GNR push, right? And the GNR are 20 points.
Yep.
All of his tanks, less than 30 points. So he's using all of this cheap infantry that's actually, like, okay, but he's using it in combination with his Air Force, with his clown cars, with all that stuff. So we're seeing a really nice combined force here, 4th Alpini doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, what we're also seeing here is what we talked about in a previous cast, setting up the battlefield and getting the right investment at the right time. Because with all of their artillery, with all of the AA that Ciro's been able to call out, it's allowed him to snowball the planes in. And now that so much trading has been done and that critical mass has been hit, you can just see the front line slowly collapsing one unit at a time. Now, the issue is the trade-off. You're going to have to really push it. You have, 20 minutes. But Ciro's done a good enough job at trading that they can afford to take it slow. They'll get that 15-9, that 16-8, and keep going, is what it looks like is going to happen.
Yep, and one thing we're going to point out is the use of recon vehicles to see what he's bringing in, reinforcement-wise. So he can see up north that there's a Stug 3 and then 5 Gabixiega. So he knows that his GNR are about to, like, run into something right now. Or very soon.
Yeah, and then there's all those light tanks going in, and they're going to be supported by air support. So if the Stug gets bombed, those light tanks might have a shot at stunning it and getting it on the side. It'll give the GNR the proper fire support they need, because like you were mentioning earlier in the cast, those Italian tanks are really good fire support. They're like a dollar store Sherman. They have 2 8mm machine guns and then a quick firing 47 mil, so they can do some okay HE suppression.
Yeah, the 47 mils are 7 rounds a minute. So that means every 9 seconds, they're just like pump, 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 pump. It's a pop gun, yeah, but we have seen over and over and over that the 47s always hit above their weight.
Yep. Yeah, and they have the heat shells too, which give them 65 millimeters of pen. So they're always going to do something, right? They're going to be messing with them the whole time. They're going to...
Up north,
yep, I think
it did it. It did it. The 47 mils trade above their weight every time.
Yeah, and then here comes the bombing run here to clean this up.
And each of those Gabixiega are at 25 points. Now, that was the big nerf for Gabixiega, right?
Yeah.
Because they used to be 20, so. But now they're 25.
So one thing to look down south, this is one thing that Ciro could work on, is just probing a little bit more, because I think Ciro is a little maxed out here with all of the stuff they're controlling. They're doing a great job of it. They're doing an awesome job of controlling the planes and the artillery, but with all that control there, they've taken out all of Vase's units. So Vase doesn't really have a line there. They just have a couple of units, and you can see that through that little bit of a bulge there in the front line. It's like awkwardly pushing into the forest. That should tell you there's nothing in that forest since it's already touching it.
Because remember that other time we talked about our casting, it is literally halfway point between the two units.
Yeah, and you can see the halfway point between those two Gebirgsjäger that are holding the front line there.
You can also see the halfway point between that Gebirgsjäger and that M15.
Yeah.
It is literally the halfway point.
What Vase did right, too, in this game is kept up the pressure, used the tools that was, at their disposal. Really, I think what this came down to is Ciro just had a better division on the map and had a better understanding of the matchup.
Yeah.
But not for a lack of trying and really pushing. Vase did, put the pedal to the metal, ran forward, and you can see that the aggression was there, but not in the way that Vase would have seen it. That's a really rough KD. But when you're pushing that hard and you're continuing to push, you're going to see a KD like that if you're not able to get any trades or have the fire support that Ciro had.
And I think that Ciro, one of the best things he did was setting up using his combined arms, because everything's so cheap, you could set everything up. But one thing I will point that Vase did really well was he dug in like a tick in that one village, and he was able to push through. It was just the oversaturation of fronts, I think, that Vase was able to deal with. It collapsed at the end because he was pushing so hard, but one of the big things with that is the Italians are just so cost effective in this map specifically. This or Seal, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And then on top of that, too, kind of what we were talking about at the start of the cast with reinforcing success and failure. I think that pushing Ciro in that dense forest that we were talking about up north wasn't the best idea. It's really hard to keep that supplied. You have an open field there. You can't set up any support assets there like AA effectively, or it's just going to get artilleried or bombed, and that's exactly what happened. But pushing in the middle, that's where a lot of the success in down south was seen too. So focusing on that next time might be the right move.
Yep. And with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for the players. It's so far been great casting Kingdom of Steel tournaments. Thank you very much, Nilla. Do you have anything last you'd like to say before we leave?
Go check out the sponsor, guys. It's pretty cool that a Steel Division tournament has a sponsor that isn't the community or the SDL or Eugen or something like that. So go give them a look.
All right, and with that, we will see you guys next week for our weekly co-cast. Have a good one. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that fun shit, and make YouTube actually like me. Okay, give me something here. Okay. All right. Have a good one, and goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.